Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday, March 12th, 2020 Parks and Recreation Board meeting. Board Member Gussow, would you lead us in the flag salute?
Be happy to. Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Repeat with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bergdorf,
Present.
Mr. Gussow,
Here.
Mr. DiPaolo,
Here.
Ms. Scamino,
Here.
Ms. Lowers. Thank you.
I'd like to call up or have Marissa Garcia make an announcement this evening.
Good evening, Chair Bergdorf and board members. I do want to make give the board and the community an update on the coronavirus. So due to the latest news regarding coronavirus or COVID-19 that has affected the Los Angeles County, the state, and our nation, the city's leadership team has decided to take quick action. A formal press release was sent out today stating that the city is declaring a state of emergency, and the city council will be ratifying that declaration at this coming Tuesday's city council meeting. With that, I'd just like to share with the board some of the precautionary measures that the city is taking that specifically impact Parks and Recreation. So first, events. All events beginning today, the city is canceling all non-essential city-sponsored events with groups of more than 250 people in attendance through the end of the month. This includes our own Excitement in the Wild, which is scheduled for March 29th. Additionally, the Youth Art Expo opening receptions scheduled for April 2nd and 3rd will also be canceled. And our Spring Extravaganza, which is on April 11th, is also being canceled. The reason we're canceling those two events is because of the resources it takes to prepare for these events. So it would be really difficult for us to reassess this at the end of the month and try to pull together a Spring Extravaganza that hosts 1,500 people in such a short period of time. So we've just made that decision. The city's also reevaluating some of our events that we have less than 250 people in attendance, really evaluating those on a case-by-case basis, and decisions will be made on those events. And for any information, we invite everybody to go to the city's website to look at what the status is on all of those events citywide. Additionally, our senior programs and services. Starting on Monday, March 16th, the city will close the Tuttle Senior Center. We are also, we will have Joslyn Adult Center open. It will remain open. However, all programs, classes, and events at Joslyn will be suspended. So what this means is individuals who want to go somewhere as a form of socialization can go to Joslyn. We do have a card room, TV room, if they want to play pool or billiards. There is some minor activities for them to partake at Joslyn. Moreover, the city will still be providing essential services such as our nutrition, our congregate meal program. So that will still be taking place. However, it'll be look a little bit different. So what we are doing is we will be providing for those who are registered participants of our senior nutrition program, will be able to pick up lunches at all three of our congregate meal sites. That's Joslyn, Tuttle, and McCambridge. They'll be able to come Mondays and Wednesdays to pick up meals. There will be fresh and frozen meals. So Monday they will pick up meals for a few days, come back on Wednesday and pick up their lunches for the rest of the week. And that is to still provide this essential service to our residents, but not have them congregate in a close environment just for their own health and safety. The city will still continue our home delivered meal program, and that is to provide meals to our local house or homebound seniors. For any questions regarding our senior programs, changes to our programming and facilities, We asked individuals to call our Joslin Adult Center at 818-238-5353. Additionally, our reservations and permits, while it's not mandatory, permit groups can request, we're not mandatorily canceling any or revoking any permits at this time. We are allowing permit groups to cancel or postpone, reschedule their private events. This is for picnics in the park or room reservations for birthday parties or any sort of gatherings. We will make these changes or cancellations at no cost. We will refund all of the fees if the individual chooses to cancel their event altogether. For that, we ask that you please contact our park permit staff at 818-238-5300. Our sports and aquatics programs, effective tomorrow, Friday, March 13th, all sports and aquatics programming will be suspended through the end of the month. However, we just remind everybody that to keep in mind that this may change at any time, but at this point, we are closing our pools and we are suspending all of our youth and adult leagues, and we are also suspending any drop-in sports programs in our gyms. Again, this is through the end of the month. And lastly, our spring camp enrichment programs and classes, our contract classes, will continue as scheduled. However, we can change that at any time. I will mention that our contract classes last day is tomorrow. So we do have a 2-week hiatus. So we're fortunate in that sense that we're not impacting too many individuals. And our classes are scheduled to resume on March 30th. So we will, again, we're reevaluating this on a daily basis. So just wanted to, and our spring break camp is not until April. So again, if there's any changes to that, we will certainly notify the public. And if refunds need to be made, we will make sure that those are made. So those are the announcements as of right now. I will tell you we are going to have some changes and we will make sure to communicate those changes to the board, the community, and we'll do the best we can working with our public information office. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions regarding this matter.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Any questions? We'll start over here. Board Member Gassel.
Thank you, Chair Bergdorf. So I may be 30 days premature with this, but we're about 60 days out from the first Starlight Bowl event. Have we given consideration to changing any of those, or are we just going to wait another 30 days to see what's going to happen?
We are looking at all of those. We're looking at all of our events. Decisions, obviously, to cancel or move forward have been made for those events for this month. But we are absolutely looking at all of our events. In fact, we have a list of all our events through the end of June. So we're evaluating those and making those decisions. Again, as soon as we're right now we're following the governor's directive, and the directive is through the end of the month, which is what we're trying to be consistent. But as things change, we will certainly make sure to make the right decision, do the best decision to make sure that our staff and our community members are safe and healthy.
Any other questions? Yes.
Not really a question, but I really applaud the decision to keep the congregate meals going. If anything else, the ones that are able to come in and pick up their meals, at least they'll be able to get out of the house, which is what, one of the purposes is, just to get out of the house and to socialize. And I'm glad Joslin Center is staying open. And I especially like the fact that the home delivered meals are still going to be functioning. And I'm a part of that, and I think it's an excellent program. And I think that the whole city, what they've done as far as making decisions concerning our Park and Recreation Department are common sense. I don't think I think it eases people's minds a little bit. This panic thing is a little ridiculous. And I think what you all have done is thought through very clearly, and I applaud you on that. So thank you very much.
If I may add one thing too, because this question came up, if there are any individuals who do want to volunteer their time to assist some of our seniors, perhaps buying groceries for them, because a lot of our seniors are afraid to leave their homes. They're concerned about being exposed. we do encourage anybody to contact our Burbank Volunteer Program. We do have a program through our BVP program called Project Hope that volunteers can assist seniors in going out and buying groceries or assisting them with some errands. There is a full background check that we go through, so it's a few days for us to make sure that any volunteer is fully vetted through to make sure we have the right individuals. But we do have a lot of services for community members who are healthy and are not in this category. That can certainly, if they want to volunteer their time, they can contact us, and we'd be happy to, or have them help us deliver meals to our homebound seniors as well. So we do encourage anybody who's interested in helping to reach out to us as well.
Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you, Ms. Garcia. All right, we have additional announcements. I'd like to call up Christina Lara.
Good evening, Chair Bergdorf and members of the board. My name is Christina Lara. I'm currently a recreation leader for the Burbank Sports Office. Tonight, I am honored to tell you about some upcoming events that are taking place in our Parks and Recreation Department. High school students, do you want to spend your summer with Burbank Parks and Rec? We are recruiting for our counselor and training program. This is a 9-week volunteer opportunity that allows students to gain valuable work experience, develop leadership skills, enhance their resumes, and earn volunteer and service learning hours. Components of the program include daily interaction with children and staff in the summer camp programs, hands-on experience working with children, and interactive training sessions. Applications will be open from March 17th to April 17th. Summer session begins the first week of June. For more information on the program and application, please visit www.burbankca.gov/CIT. Looking for camp options for your child this summer? We've got you covered. Currently, we are taking Burbank resident pre-registration for the popular Summer Days Day Camp. Please have all your materials turned in before March 20th to be able to participate in the online registration set for April 4th. In addition, the Parks and Recreation Department also offers Art Experience Camp, Nature Camp, and Summer Play Days, and a variety of summer sports camp options. Please visit www.burbankca.gov/camps to plan out your summer of fun. Adult sports registration is going on now until March 20th. Teams can register online at www.burbankparks.com or walk into the sports office Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We also, for the first time ever, have a new soccer league that we are starting. It is 8-on-8, both men's and co-ed leagues that are starting for the first time ever, and so we are very excited about that and something new to check out. For more information on soccer and all other adult sports, you can check the website at www.burbankca.gov/adultsports or call the sports office at 818-238-5330. The DeBell Golf Club presents the 2020 Guys and Dolls Golf Tournament on Friday, March 20th at 9 a.m. The last day to enter the tournament is on March 15th. For more information, please call Bob Morris at 310-721-9104, or you are able to reach him by email at bob@lilamaxmedia.com. The City of Burbank is excited to announce that we've partnered with the U.S. Census Bureau to support the 2020 census on April 1st. The census counts for all people who reside in the United States, regardless of age or citizenship. Responses will determine how much federal money Burbank will receive for education, housing, healthcare, and more. An invitation to complete a census questionnaire should arrive by mail to all Burbank residents by the end of March. Residents will be counted by submitting your response online, by phone, or by mail. For more information, please visit www.2020census.gov. Do you dig Burbank? Volunteer with the DIG program and work together to keep our parks beautiful and clean. Volunteers help pick up litter and pull weeds. Dig days rotate at assigned city parks monthly on Saturday mornings from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. The next event is on Saturday, April 4th at the Jocelyn Adult Center. There is no sign-up required, just bring your gloves and a digging tool. To see the schedule and for more information, visit burbankca.gov/digburbank. On April 25th is the Recycle Boat Regatta. Sign up for this free event that is designed to provide team-building opportunities for the Burbank youth while also raising awareness for environmental pollution and waste. Contestants will have the opportunity to design, build, and race their own boats made from all recyclable materials. Each team will compete for various awards including the Cardboard Cup, Best in Show, Saltiest Crew, and the Titanic Award. Contest takes place on April 25th at 12:30 p.m. at Verdugo Aquatic Facility. All teams may register by visiting www.burbankparks.com. To stay updated on the latest happenings in the Burbank Parks and Recreation, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can also find out about our programs and events by visiting our website at burbankca.gov/Burbank Parks and Recreation. This is all my announcements. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you for that report. I'm curious about the Titanic Award. Is that, the first loser?
I don't know if it's the first loser, but I think it's the most creative.
Most creative,
The most
most
creative,
creative
yeah.
loser.
Most creative loser.
That's
yeah.
what I was
Most creative
told,
loser.
yeah.
Okay. I just
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have some recognition. And who am I bringing up? Is it Mary Young?
Actually, Chair Lowers, if we could postpone this RISE recognition to next month.
Sure.
Or a future month, that would be fantastic. I believe because of the weather and maybe the state of affairs in our city, we do not have any of our participants with us this evening.
All right, well, that's all right.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So next we have oral communications, and I actually have a card. I'd like to call up Tiffany Nelson.
Hi there, how are you guys? Never better. Dry, I hope. I wanted to actually give you guys a flyer. I'm here on behalf of Hat Minor Baseball for boys. I've been up here before a couple times between the Hall of Fame and Piper's Pals and all of that good type stuff. But on February 12th, we actually had the pleasure of renting McCambridge Park, and we got to play South Korea. And they were out here to play a tournament, and they needed a scrimmage, and so we scrimmaged against them. And I'm happy to say that my 12-year-old boys beat them 15-9, and it was awesome. But part of the problem that we have out here in Burbank is we have a whole lot of boys that want to play baseball, and the rule for Hat Minor Baseball for this particular age and 11 to 12-year-old boys is we have to have pegged bases at 70 feet. Now, I have a way to bring in a whole lot of money for the city, and our Park and Rec department, unfortunately, is slammed, and they don't have the staff to be able to do tournaments. So I have some people who are with the International Sports Association who would like very much to rent our fields. Now, what that comes down to is if I can get somebody from our city to peg our bases at 70 feet, meaning we have bases right now currently pegged at 60 and 65 feet. We have softball fields that are pegged for men's softball and women's softball, and we have fields that are pegged for baseball that go all the way up to 90 feet, but I have nothing in between. So 9 and under and 10 and under, and then high school is all set, but I have that in-between age that just doesn't have anything. So back in the 90s, my husband and I helped a guy named Mac McMeans, who we started the fall softball program. And that gave the girls the ability to kind of play year round. And that was awesome because back then I was hoping that I could have my daughter play, but that turned out to be Piper's Pals instead. But now I have boys, and my boys want to play. The closest tournament for us is 54 miles away. I do not like driving to Fontana and Long Beach and Duarte and all of these places, especially when we have an 8 a.m. game and I have to wake up at 5 and then I have to pick up half these kids because the parents don't want to have to drive. So my problem is these kids want to play for rings. Now, these people have a staff that are willing to do everything for free. They will peg the bases, except I think that's kind of against your rules because you guys have to have your people do it for insurance reasons and blah, blah, blah. So if somehow I can get you guys to peg, say McCambridge, for example, McCambridge 1 and 2 at 70 feet, that's all I need. Then I can have the 11 and 12-year-olds play there, and the 9 and 10-year-olds can play at Olive. This guy is willing to do the 9 and 10-year-olds, and he's going to bring in breakaway fences, and he's going to bring in all of the mounds, and he's going to allow us to store them, and he's going to rent the fields, and he'll take Maxim and Gross and Schaefer and everything. And if you crunch the numbers, he's going to buy the rings. These kids just want to play for rings. He buys them at $8 in bulk, and it's ridiculous. So basically what he's looking at is, if he does this, we played a tournament. He has teams that come out from France and Australia and Canada and Sweden and Puerto Rico, and it's really cool because we also beat Mexico, by the way. So he had 128 rooms rented, for example, 21 cars rented. Between the restaurants and the souvenirs, the revenue for the city was ridiculous, but all of the money went to West Hills. I would like that money to come to Burbank. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if he rents 11 fields at $22 an hour, now I'm just going off of the rentals, okay? That gives us $242. He's going to rent them from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's 40 hours. 40 hours at $242, that's $10,080 per day times 3 days. You're looking at $30,240 for one tournament. One tournament. You guys do nothing. They chalk the fields, they drag the fields, they do everything. I understand that you have to have somebody at the field, in case somebody gets hurt, they have to fill out the little form. Okay, so you have to pay one person to go to each field. But he wants to rent the fields on every single holiday when you don't have anybody there. You close the fields for all of the city holidays. So you have Martin Luther King, President's Day, Memorial Day, Firecracker Tournament, 4th of July. You have September for Labor Day, Veterans Day, Turkey Tournament, Toys for Tots Tournament, which is where we actually collect toys for Children's Hospital. And every team has to pay $495 plus a toy for each kid, and then we give it to Children's Hospital. If you do 8 3-day tournaments, you're looking at, for 1 year, with you doing nothing, $241,920. If this guy right here rents your fields at $22 an hour. And all I need you to do is peg 2 fields at McCambridge. Or pick 2 fields. I don't care. Just pick 2 fields. And just peg 2 fields at 70 feet. That's all I need is to peg 2 fields. If you can do that, then he will rent 11 fields from you guys and bring in a ton of money. Toluca wants to come. Prime is in West Valley, East Valley, Pasadena, Glendale, La Crescenta, San Fernando, Sun Valley, Castaic, and Valencia. BPL teams that are already playing with us right now, Burbank Little League, and we've already lost a bunch of teams to Mid Valley, and here's what I see. I see use this guy for 2 to 3 years, and then kick him out, because the $495 that he's getting from every single one of these teams, then you take that money too. And so on top of the $22 an hour that you're renting or getting from him for rentals, then you take that $500 a team. You know what I mean? And that's on top of the concession stands. Then you get the food trucks. Then you get the every tournament we go to, there's the picture guy, and they have to pay to come to the tournaments. It's just, there's so much money when we go to tournaments. so much money. And then you can hire somebody, and the poor sports office can have like a tournament person, and they can get more people in there because they're so slammed. And the girls have a great program, and now, unfortunately, I have boys. So I think I know the boys have flag football and soccer and all these other things, but boys want to play baseball year round. So I'm begging, and I'm going to leave this here because these guys want to give you guys a lot of money. So if there is any way, can you please just peg 2 fields for me at 70 feet? And I'm talking a ton of cash. And those are just, in 1 year. And then just use them for 2 or 3 years and then kick them out. And then just make 5 or 6 or 7 times that amount of money. Please. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Any response to oral communications? Let's start with board members. Any? No? Or should we start with staff?
Sure. Well, I'll be happy to connect, have staff connect with Ms. Nelson. I will tell you that we try to always find that balance. We just spent about a couple $100,000 renovating all of our ball fields. So altering our newly renovated fields might be something that we need to really think about long and hard. Additionally, just some of the things that are coming just off the top of my head right now. I do know that, our fields are heavily used. There are some times where we aren't using our fields, but that's also that balance of making sure that our fields have enough downtime to recover. But we will absolutely work with Ms. Nelson. If we can make this happen, we will. If we can't, we'll explain the reasons why. But anything we can do to help our community, we'll certainly look into.
Thank you. Any other comments? Nope, that's it. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Thank you, Ms. Garcia. All right. We don't have any written communications. Park Board comments. Are there any Park Board comments? Yes, go right ahead.
I'll just mention that I attended the Arts and Public Places Committee meeting last week on the 5th. The committee is certainly enthused about many of the efforts that they're working on. They recommended expenditure to City Council for a mural outside of Verdugo Aquatic Facility. It's quite a beautiful piece that promotes inclusion and community and highlights our sister cities. And I look forward to finding more about learning council's recommendation on that. So, thank you.
Any others? Board Member DiPaolo.
This is a little off the subject, but a young man who is on the youth board and actually attends a lot of our Park and Recreation Board meetings. And he, like I said, is on a youth board. He's an Eagle Scout, and I'm talking about Liam McKenna. This past Sunday, he completed the LA Marathon in 6 hours and 25 minutes. And he worked really hard. He trained with the Students Run LA, which is a countywide, Ventura County. It started several years ago in the LA Marathon's infancy, just the first few years the marathon started. And it is actually thousands and thousands of young people have gone through this program, and it has literally saved lives. It's kept them in school. But that wasn't the case with Liam. Liam's a self-starter. He's an excellent student at Providence High School, and he's an Eagle Scout, like I said. But he worked hard, and being he's a youth board member, I wanted to congratulate him, and I'm sure he thanks his wonderful parents, Paul and Janet, for their support. So congratulations, Liam.
Thank you for that. Much appreciated. All right. Oh, yes, go right ahead. Ladies first.
Thank you. One last comment. I just want to, this week, many of us, or all of us, went to the boards and commission dinner. I just want to thank staff for highlighting our many volunteers and commission members. It was an outstanding event. I think we all felt special, and we certainly, I appreciate my time on this commission being able to serve this city, and we certainly appreciate the recognition. I certainly want to recognize staff, though. They put a lot of effort into it, and I think we all had a great time. So thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Gussow.
Thank you, Chair Bergdorf. So I think this is very appropriate with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them sitting there today. I actually went out to DeBell this morning to play golf, and not one of them did anything about stopping the rain. Not any one of them could have fixed that, but none of them did it. I'm really disappointed.
Thank you for that. All right, let's see. New business. The first item is the DeBell Golf Course 6-month update.
Thank you, Chair Bergdorf. Please pardon me while I practice hand sanitation. Have to set the example.
Very appropriate.
Good evening, Chair Bergdorf and members of the board. It's my pleasure to talk about the 6-month review of the operation at DeBell Golf Course. This is Gwen Endermill, Recreation Service Manager. And sharing the report with me tonight is Jeff Hastings, who's the General Manager at DeBell Golf Course. And later on in this report, he's going to introduce the 4 department heads and staff that accompanied him in the meeting. But I'm going to take the honor to introduce Stan Gonzalez. You've seen him before. He's the regional manager, so he's Jeff's supervisor. He's been here before and along through the RFP process, so he's also joined us and drove through the rain to get here. So that's how important it is to Touchstone to make sure that they're part of this process. So as you recall, way back in May last year, can we roll the PowerPoint, please? Thank you. The previous golf operator had notified the city that he no longer was going to be able to operate the golf course. So as the city was preparing for the request for proposal process, we also prepared to temporarily take responsibility to operate the golf course and the rest of its amenities for the period of time that it was going to take to complete the RFP process. So here's our beautiful golf course. And along with that process, we sent out the RFP in May, and we received 4 proposals. And then after we selected and interviewed, and we went out to the sites to visit the golf courses of the final 2 panelists. And then finally in December, Touchstone was recommended to City Council, and we went to Council on December 12th, and beginning December 13th, they took over operating the golf course. So tonight, I'm going to talk about golf operations and revenue, and Jeff's going to take the rest of the fun part of the presentation. So he's going to get all the attaboys. So I get to review all the data with you. And then we're also going to provide time at the end of the report for you to ask questions. So I have 2 documents that I'm going to ask you to follow along with. We have the PowerPoint, and then we have the staff report. And because we're both doing this report, and the portion that I'm responsible for differs from what he is, we're kind of jump around a little bit. So I'm going to kind of guide you through it as we talk in the presentation. So one of the advantages of having Touchstone, the organization, oversee our operations and manage DeBell Golf Course is they have a larger umbrella. So if you look at that first PowerPoint, it shows you the general manager and the 4 department heads at DeBell. And then above that, you'll see the larger corporation of Touchstone that provides the support for our little golf course, in that they have all these people that centralize the operation, including legal, human resources, finance. So in the past, it's always been one person overseeing all of that, or contracting out restaurant operations, and then they receive rent. So it's a very different operation. But now you have the power of a company that's running 40 golf courses, helping to oversee ours, and so they're much more of experts than we ever could be. So since taking over management and operation of the facility, Touchstone has stepped in and hit the ball running. The improvements that they've made have immediately improved the pace of play. And as you know, Mr. Gussow is playing at the course has really improved. It's not just like the city, when we took over in the middle of the summer, we turned the water on, which was great, but a lot of the irrigation was broken. So they've been spending a lot of time repairing the irrigation, and now it just looks beautiful. So I also mentioned last time we were here back in October, one of the great things about having a large organization, they have better power to buy things than we do. So the city has the advantage of getting government purchasing contracts and all that, but we had to replace the aged golf carts. If you remember, the lease had expired, and we were spending a lot of money repairing them. So that was one of the first things we were going to have to replace and lease some brand new golf carts. So we went and we got our price, and we were all okay. And then we had to go through a lot more red tape, of course. But then Touchstone turned around, because now they're running a lot more golf courses than we are. They get a price, and it was a lot less than what we could get. And not only a lot less than we could get, they could get a better golf cart. So the golf carts we have today have lithium batteries, they have a USB charger, and they're lighter weight. So when they're bouncing over people kind of get off when they're looking for their ball, it does less damage to the turf. So that's one of the great advantages of having a larger corporation behind our operation. And then in addition, we had to buy some golf maintenance equipment that we didn't have. And so later in this process, we had our CMAS contract with the state that we could get, I don't know, a tractor or a John Deere something or other. But then Touchstone goes, oh, we can get it for far less. So we just saved ourselves a bunch of money just by signing with them, because the equipment that they brought on and now the golf carts have really made a difference. So some of their focus has not only been to improve the quality of the golf course. As you've seen, if you've gone up there for lunch or dinner, they painted almost everything. All that old artwork's been taken down. They painted the driving range building. Some of the furniture that's been in the restaurant has been replaced or repaired. You saw the big lounge area at the top of the stairs. So it's much more attractive than we had before. So as a result, we're having more and more golf and non-golf visitors come up to our facility. So now if you turn your page to page 2 on your report, there's a spreadsheet that shows you the rounds of play. So what we did is we compared 2018 for the same 6-month period to 2019. And as you can see, the number of golfers that went up there is, including the par 3 and disc golf, is almost 10% higher, just by having a new golf operator who's focusing on marketing. They can reduce rates during non-peak times and send out these blasts on social media to help encourage golfers to come to the facility. So just in that 6-month period, you've seen that much of an increase in golfers. But then what I did here on this slide, this is on your PowerPoint. If you turn to your PowerPoint, I took the golfers per month for 2018 and 2019. So red is 2018 and blue is 2019. And you can see the blue is higher in every month except December. So that kind of gives you a picture of how well we're doing at the facility. And the only reason December is lower is we had a lot of rain last year, remember? Okay, so we had rainouts. We also had, because they have a special events division, they might have a buyout. So someone does a tournament, they do a buyout, and that might reflect on some of the golfers that would be participating on a regular basis up at the golf course. So some of the other improvements that have happened, I know, Mr. Gussell, you don't go to the driving range, but I do because I'm dangerous on the golf course. Okay. The improvements at the range, and that was probably one of the hardest things for us to work on while we were running the golf course. They just improved the driving range to attract more people to the range. The biggest one was the ball dispensing machine. So we replaced the driving range mats, they planted seed, they put up attractive targets, these posts with the bell on it, and you can, aim at the bell. And it made it much more attractive. But the ball dispensing machine was probably the largest improvement at that part of the facility, because our old machine was a hand-me-down from LA City from the previous operator, and it didn't work all the time. And now this one also accepts credit cards. So by accepting the credit cards, we're getting so much more business. I think it's 54%, right, Jeff? 54% of the business from The driving range is just generated from the machine. They don't have to go back to the clubhouse to go get a code and then go and punch the code in. You just stick your credit card in and decide what size basket you want, and then there it goes. So that's less handling for the staff. Now, we do staff it still, but just going up any time during the day, it's staff like late in the day and some on the weekend. If you just go up, like I go up on my lunch hour, stick my credit card in there, and then it's easy. So 54% of the sales from the driving range comes from just that machine. Okay, so now if you'll turn to page 5 on your report, we took the categories, the main revenue categories that we monitor at DeBell to show their success. So if you compare 2018 to 2019, you're going to see some very significant increases in some of these categories. So for example, the driving range, that's a 93% increase. That's pretty huge. Number one, the driving range is operating all the time, whereas sometimes in the past it wasn't operating because the machine wasn't working and we couldn't pick the range to get enough balls. And then if you look at the golf, the rounds of golf for 9 and 18 holes, 18-hole golf is up over 30%. And then merchandise, while the city was running the merchandise for a 6-month period, we intentionally decided to not have all the clothing and the shoes because we just weren't in the market of being a retail sale operation. So we had golf tees, golf balls, the things that golfers would need, golf gloves. And then now you have a company coming in with all kinds of merchandise. They have golf clubs. We weren't in the business of selling golf clubs. So if you look at that significant increase in merchandise, that's $50,000 more than we would have done. So that, and that's just in 6 months. And then one of the ones that I don't want you to be confused about is food and beverage. So in the past, the previous operator collected rent. So you'll see there's 2 holes on the spreadsheet. There's one that said food and beverage in 2018, there's no revenue because we received rent in place of revenue. And then if you look to 2019, it reversed. So we don't get rent from the concessionaire, but we get the revenue from food and beverage sales. So if you look at that, that's almost $600,000. That's pretty big.
What was the rent?
Was it $10,000 a month? Yeah. That was a long time ago.
That's why I didn't remember. You got the 124,000.
Yeah, I think I did the real quick math on there. If you removed the food and beverage sales, it would take their gross revenue down to over $805,000. But still, comparing apples to apples, it still exceeds what we would have done. So if you'll turn to your PowerPoint, what I did is I took those categories of revenue and I put them in a stacked bar graph so you could see as visually how that revenue compares. So if you look, like the green is pretty close, but in 2019 it's higher. Well, green is the 18-hole golf, so you can see that it's higher. And then the significant ones that you can kind of see why it's so skewed is on the left you have the light blue color, so that's the rent. Was it $124,000? And then the big one is food and beverage. It's almost $600,000. So that's kind of why it looks so odd. But I thought maybe if you saw visually how it compares, all the colors match up. So the legend is on the top, so you can see the peach colored one is the cart rental. It's pretty close, but 2019 is greater than 2018. So I thought that might be something that you could put your hands around if you saw it in a picture. Okay, so I'm going to turn over the best part of the report. Jeff's going to get to talk to you about all the improvements and some of the special programs they have at DeBell. And then he's also going to introduce his staff. So if you have questions, we'll address those at the end of the presentation.
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Thank you for having us. Proud to be up here to give you an update on kind of some of the things that we're doing at DeBell Golf Club. My name is Jeff Hastings. I'm the general manager at DeBell Golf Club. At this time, I do want to introduce some of our department heads and staff members. We've already introduced Stan Gonzalez, but Stan Gonzalez is our regional manager with Touchstone Golf. Next to him is Ashley Walston. Ashley is our food and beverage director. We next have Heather Shapples. She's our golf course superintendent. Joaquin Herbozo, who is our PGA head golf professional. And Chef Mauro Payan, who is our head chef at DeBell. We also have Meredith Anderson, who is a director of sales and private events. And we got everybody there. So thank you everybody for being here. Appreciate it. So a couple of things that I do want to highlight on the bullet points here is we're going to go over some of the golf maintenance improvements that we've made, some of the food and beverage operational improvements that we made, some of our marketing strategies at DeBell that have helped us increase revenues, and as well as an update on special events and tournaments and things that we're doing to improve the revenues for those categories as well. So for golf maintenance, what you'll see here is this is actually a picture of the bunker renovation that we did back in August. We renovated a total of 4 bunkers. The bunkers were being located on holes number 1 and holes number 18. Those are the bunkers that when we came in, we identified as the ones that needed the most improvement. When we renovated them, what we did is essentially we cleaned out all the bunkers of the old sand and debris. Once we did that, we repaired the drainage that was underneath those bunkers. From there, we reshaped them, and then what you can see there is we put in a capillary concrete. Capillary concrete is essentially a liner for the bottom of the bunker. Traditional bunkers either have some sort of fabric liner or there's other ways to do it, but we put in a capillary concrete for a couple of reasons. One, it's pretty neat because the concrete's porous. So if you were to dump a bucket of water on that bunker right there, essentially water would seep through. So the drainage is a lot better for our bunkers now on the ones that we renovated. When we did renovate them, like I said, we also reshaped them. The bunker here that you're seeing is on hole number 1. One of the additional bunkers that we did on hole number 1, we also brought in about 7 yards, which makes it easier for the golfers to play to that hole, creating more satisfaction for the golfers and speeding up play. When we finished with the capillary concrete, we let it cure and dry. We replaced the bunkers with 4 inches of sand, which is an industry standard for many golf courses. And overall, the general renovations allowed for better aesthetics on those holes and for the golf course. I know golfers are pleased now that we've reshaped some of the bunkers. It's a lot easier to play out of some of the bunkers, and as well as since it's easier, it speeds up pace of play. So another addition that we did for a capital improvement was we did some renovations to the restaurant. So if you were up there previously, you'll know that the carpet and the tile there previously was outdated and needed replacement. Our goal with the new carpet and the new tile was to create a warm and new vibe at the Hilltop restaurant. And when we did this, because we rebranded the restaurant with a new name, the Hilltop Restaurant and Bar, we made sure that we created the brand awareness while we did all of these renovations to the general public. We replaced the tile with a porcelain wood tile, so it matched the previous wood that's surrounding the restaurant there, as well as the carpet that you'll see is a contemporary design. And essentially what we did is we wanted to make it as neutral as possible just to help our private events, because most events want to come in and decorate, so it doesn't clash with a lot of decorations that the private events are coming in or bringing. The overall upgrades have been accepted and received very well by many of the guests. It's a great selling point, I know, for our private events when we do tours. We mentioned that, we have new tile, new carpets, and a lot of the clients are impressed by that, as well as the daily restaurant guests as well. They're very satisfied with it. So, an overview of the food and beverage operations. You'll see there's a picture that's from one of the events that we have as a setup. It looks really, really beautiful. But with the food and beverage operations, Ashley has directed the staff to go through additional training to improve speed of service and service standards. I think we've done a good job with that overall with the service improvements, just from guest satisfaction and them reporting back to us on the things that they like about the restaurant. We've expanded our menu, and I actually have here just a little visual. So, the previous operator, this was one of the menus that they had, which was laminated with a decent amount of options. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to bring, again, a different vibe and a different feel to the Hilltop restaurant. So we worked with a couple of our national accounts and our vendors to come up with two separate menus, which we currently have, which we rotate. We have a spring menu, and then we did a fall menu, which Ashley put together. But as you can see, we've got these nice menus now with covers. Just, again, a different feel when we come up to the guests and deliver this to them instead of a laminated copy of a menu. Several pages with pictures in the menu. There's breakfast in here, highlighting some of our offerings as well as the drinks. We have a quick eats menu, which is, for golfers if they want to come in and not have a full meal. There's options in here like nachos and wings, street tacos, several other items like that, as well as a full lunch menu here with new options that we've added from time to time. As well as we've also, on the weekends, have put together a separate brunch menu, which is kind of catered towards more the people that are coming in who are looking for specific offerings for brunch. So instead of this menu, we do offer this menu for brunch, which we find to be popular, which is toned down a little bit because brunch is our busiest time, so we can focus a little bit more on our speed of service with these menu items, but nonetheless has a good array of selection of menu items. Another big success for us is we've also, we're continuing our grab and go in the morning. So for the early morning golfers that are coming in, we have food available for purchase in the golf shop starting at 7:30 a.m. Monday through Thursday. And so if they want a breakfast burrito or a bagel or a breakfast sandwich, they can order it through the golf shop. And the receipt prints up to one of our cooks in the restaurant, and then they can go upstairs and pick it up before the round, all within a few minutes. So it's been really successful. One of the things that we've also done is we've remained consistent with our hours. So our hours have stayed the same all year. We do not differ with our hours. We continue to keep the same hours. And the golfers and non-golfers who are coming up, they appreciate that. Because just the consistency is nice for them to know that we're going to be open at these times. So the next thing we want to talk about is marketing. Cool picture here is what you'll see. We actually hosted a car show. But that kind of coincides with some of the marketing things that we're doing at DeBell. As we continue to build the DeBell and Hilltop Restaurant Bar brand, we've created social media accounts for our operations. So for DeBell and the Hilltop, we've created Facebook accounts for both of those operations as well as Instagram, and have tried to get as many followers as we can to get news and notes and specials out throughout the year. Our marketing focus is pretty simple, but we've always focused on an outreach to new clients. With that, an outreach to the community, and then as well as creating advocates for DeBell. So people that are going to champion DeBell, not only by repeat business from them, but spreading the word to their friends and other people to visit us up there. We've put a focus on building our email database, which is now currently 28,000 members with our email database. We use the database to communicate golf specials, restaurant specials, events, important dates, and course news consistently. And we try to do that 1 to 2 times per week, not too much, but again, we try to communicate that as much as we can. As an example, some of the things that we're doing, and I took golf specials as an example, during non-peak times or non-busy times, we've got a couple promotions that we'll do from time to time. One example is that is a free sleeve Friday, and what that is a sleeve of golf balls, which we'll do for those coming in, let's just say from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. If they pay their regular rate, they'll receive a free sleeve of golf balls. A couple other things, we've done a free hat Friday to promote specials like that, where they'll get a DeBell logo hat with their round of golf. We've done 2-for-1 specials for our Canyon Club members, several things that we're doing to kind of fill that void in the tee sheet, to increase the revenues and also make our customers happy as well. Special events is what we technically call like a create event is what we do at DeBell. Create events are events that are essentially planned and executed by the DeBell team, so ourselves. What you'll see here is actually a Brunch with Santa event that we held in December. It was very successful. It's a cute picture. I love that picture. We've hosted numerous events, not just Brunch with Santa, but we've also hosted a live music series throughout the summer on Fridays. We did an end of summer party. We hosted a DeBell car show, which you saw on the previous slide. And again, we did a Brunch with Santa, which we hosted 2 seatings. Our first seating sold out, and our second seating was close to selling out. So very successful. Kind of a note with this is I actually attended this event with my family, and taking a look around the room, most of the attendees were non-golfers and people that I did not see frequent DeBell. So it was good to know that, again, our goal of being in the community was, reaching out there and providing revenue for us. The events, like I said, that we do are focused on, non-golfers and in the community. Just because we have that, sense of creating creating DeBell as a community-centric, aspect. For weddings, parties, and private events, this is a picture of an open house that we hosted during the summer. In September, we hosted this open house and coinciding with the styled photo shoot. And this was right after we finished the completion of the new carpet and the new tile. The goal of the event was to pretty much showcase DeBell and the things that we can do as far as private events and weddings. The event was attended by booked clients, prospective clients, some city officials were there, and wedding and event professionals. And alongside this, when we did this in September, a month before, we put together our holiday campaign promotion, which began in August. We started in August with a focus on our holiday events in December. The campaign was successful. We ended up hosting 25 events in the first 20 days of December. So December was very successful with the marketing and the sales aspects that we were doing to host those events. For our engagement season, which is between November and February, again, with the improved marketing and the things that we're continuing to do to outreach in the community, as well as with our email database, we've seen an improvement in bookings and weddings over previous year as well. For golf tournaments, we've hosted several golf tournaments so far over the past year, several large tournaments, charity fundraiser golf tournaments, traveling groups, several tournaments. What you'll see here is the BPOA golf tournament that we hosted was very successful. I think we had close to about 110 participants in that golf tournament. And the exciting thing about this with what Meredith is doing is once we host these tournaments, we make sure we focus on the service and everybody has a good time. And most of these events have rebooked already for next year. So that's good. With the increased marketing, we've also seen improving traveling groups. Those are groups that are in between 16 players to 40 players roughly. Usually those are not charity events, but those are consistent groups that play every month, and we have improved marketing strategy to reach out to them to continue to have them play at DeBell. With that, we also improved our packaging. We have packages that range from just golf, as well as golf and range golf balls that are included with it, and then golf and food and beverage packages, which our clients can pick from several different options on golf and food and beverage. A good thing about with the golf tournaments is a lot of the focus has been repeat tournaments that have been there for a while, making sure they come back to DeBell. So we focused a lot on that. And a couple of tournaments that we've hosted on the junior aspect side is the U.S. Kids Tour tournament, which we hosted 2 of those, and those were near about 100 participants in that. We also have hosted the Boys and Girls High School Invitational, which the Boys High School Invitational is actually coming up next week. So we focused on continuing to build those relationships that have been there, and then improve those relationships going forward. And what you'll see here is a picture of the U.S. Kids Tour tournament in a certain age division with the girls there. So it's a good ending picture. And at this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. That was excellent, very thorough. Board members, do we have any questions? Board Member Gassell.
Thank you, Chair Bergdorf. Jeff, that was a great report.
Thank you.
The numbers they speak for themselves. Certainly, I could have no complaints, and I've been outspoken in the past, but I could have absolutely no complaints about anything I see on this chart. And, I'm always going to look for more, but everything is improved, and I think you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's a credit to our department heads and all the staff that we have at DeBell. They've really poured everything into improving the property.
Anyone else?
I'm sorry. I love outreach for new clients and non-golfers. I love that because, I'm of the opinion that it's going to be harder to increase golf rounds than it is going to be to increase revenue in the restaurant. I think that's an opportunity for all of us, you, us, the city, everybody, because what a beautiful place. And, I know it's been a struggle. It wasn't just your struggle. It was a struggle before you ever got here. But it's certainly, $586,000. That's a lovely number for that 6-month period. And I look forward to seeing even more things happen up there because, it's an open canvas for you.
Sure. Thank you.
Board Member Lowers.
Yeah, I think you're going to take a little bit of a, excuse me, with this coronavirus. I'm supposed to be up there next weekend for a memorial service, and I know that today that was canceled.
Correct.
Because of the things that are going on. So I think that's going to take a little bit of a hit up there, and hopefully, not too badly. We can weather this and move on very, quickly. But do you have any thoughts of how you're going to manage that, though?
As far as events?
Events up there through this problem?
Yeah, so we've, thank you for asking that. We've had a couple of events who have contacted us, a couple of events who have actually canceled already. And our position is that we understand what's going on, and that if they do wish to cancel, they can do so with no penalty. And if they do ask for their deposit back, we would be happy to give them their deposit back if they wish to cancel their event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That's very generous. Just a couple questions. I noticed that your new hours, are these new hours on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays? You're starting at 7:30, or has it always been 7:30?
It's always been 7:30 since we took over the restaurant operations on the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
The one
That's
change,
good.
yeah, the one change we did make was Mondays now. We have a trivia night every Monday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So we've extended our hours on Monday till 9 p.m.
Oh, I thought maybe that was for Monday Night Football, but
So
That's
soon,
what I
soon
thought,
enough.
too.
Soon enough.
And the other question I have is, tell me about this disc. That's the lower part, 3-par. And is that not?
Frisbee.
frisbee golf?
Yeah, it's frisbee golf. Disc golf essentially is played next to on the par 3
Right.
property, and then there's discs out there or chain. I guess targets is what they would throw their discs into, and yeah, it's a part of the the par 3, and golfers and the discers, they play alongside each other, and yeah.
Is
it's
it
disc golf.
maybe something that's dying out as a sport, or?
I got you. In reference to the decrease
Right.
in the number, I think the majority of the decrease is what you're seeing is because it's a little bit skewed. We've hosted a couple of disc golf events, so those events are actually getting categorized as a tournament because they're contracted, and therefore they're getting categorized into the 18 and 9-hole round because those tournament rounds hit that classification. So that would be why those numbers are a little bit skewed. Yeah.
Is there anything that you guys are finding that's really a challenge that you're, your report was great and then all the numbers and everything are terrific. Is there any challenges besides the rain that you guys are working hard to overcome or to make better or?
Sure. I think one of the biggest challenges that we have is our irrigation system. As you may know, it's outdated. It's been there for a long time. Several things are wrong with the irrigation system. We have made consistent improvements. Heather's done a wonderful job. Heather's our golf course superintendent along with the staff. The irrigation is the life of the golf course. The grass needs water. And so with it being as old as it is, we find new challenges day to day, where if we fix something on one hole, well, the next day something may go down on one of the other holes with the irrigation. That's really been our biggest challenge, but like I said, we're working to do the best that we can with that system.
Anyway, I want to congratulate you because I have a lot of friends that golf up there, and they're lifetime Burbank residents, and they demand the best, and they're really pleased with the direction that the course is going. So,
Good. Thank you.
congratulations.
Yes, Board Member Gusso.
Thank you. Follow-up, Jeff, something that Mickey just mentioned. I noticed in the report, and I was going to come over and ask you personally instead of bringing it up here, but as long as he brought it up, it says that you and the city are working together on a plan for. So I don't want to get into those details because that's really none of my business at this point. Budgetarily, it will be eventually. But so when you change an irrigation system in a golf course the size of our golf course, what do you have to close it down? I mean,
Yeah, typically, and I think we talked about this, and I'm trying to remember if the plan was to work on it, if it was a hole by hole, or we're going to close down 9 at a time. Yeah. Go ahead.
If I may, I haven't been at the most recent meetings, but we have discussed different options of either closing hole by hole or doing 9 holes at a time. So closing the back 9 or the front 9, or just depending on that. And I will mention that funding for that. So annually, the department, last year and this coming year, we are requesting $1.3 million annually for the foreseeable future to replace all of the irrigation at all of our park facilities, DeBell being one of them. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, our priority is, because of just timing, will be DeBell. We'll at least see the first 1.3 most likely, and then we'll move systematically and try to phase all of our other park facilities and just do our best within the limited budget dollars that we have. A lot more money than we have ever had, but we're just trying to be as responsible to not just focus on one facility, but spread that out. But yes, so the plans, I believe, have been completed, and specifications have been completed. So I think we're moving quickly to the bid process.
good. Do I get a personal favor for being a board member here? Will you close 4 and 8, please? Those are the two. So I won't tell you what I took on 8 today. It's just-
Any more comments or questions? Thank you so much. That was an excellent report. And personally, I'm just pleased at the results.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your staff coming out too.
All right, let's move on to the consent calendar. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm rushing you. Darn. Wishful thinking. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm going to keep it short and sweet as there was a budget update last month and we'll have another one next month. Yay! Good evening, Chair Bergdorf and members of the Park Board. Today, we would like to present to you the department's fiscal year 2020-2021 proposed operating and capital budget. As briefly mentioned during last month's budget update, for the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget process, staff submitted a status quo operating budget per the city manager's direction. However, staff included largely revenue offset material, supplies, and services, or MS&S requests. Notable revenue offset requests included expanded summer day camp and swim programming, funds to expand Starlight Bowl concert operations and summer programming, and restricted art and public places funds for the utility box beautification program and maintenance of public art throughout the city. One request that was not revenue offset, but which staff deemed essential for the community, was a request for additional chemicals to treat California sycamore trees, which are highly susceptible to the polyphagous shot hole borer beetle. The department's proposed capital improvement program, which includes playground equipment replacement, Brace Park ball field improvements, tennis center improvements, the replacement of citywide irrigation, which the Bell will be a recipient of that, ball field lighting modernization, and many more programmatic and capital upgrades and improvements to the city's numerous parks and recreation facilities, was approved by the Infrastructure Oversight Board on February 27th of this year, with an estimated budget of just under $5 million for fiscal year 2020-2021 for parks and recreation. I should note that although our capital spending has been approved by the Infrastructure Oversight Board, final approval of both the proposed operating and capital budget for the entire city rests with the City Council. Prior to the City Council adoption of the capital and operating budgets scheduled for May 12, 2020, there will be numerous public hearings. The first public hearing will be April 14, where all budget material will be presented. If needed, there will be a continuation meeting for April 21st. And on May 5th, or Cinco de Mayo, there will be a public hearing and adoption of the city's utility rates. Now, if you are concerned about the coronavirus, I thought I should add that everyone can watch the public hearings from the comforts of your own home, as the hearings will be televised. And this concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions? I see none.
See,
Thank
I said
you.
it would be short and sweet.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, now we will move on to the consent calendar. So let me read the items. The first is the approval of the February 13th, 2020 minutes. Second is City Council agenda items update, contract compliance report, park patrol report. We have the departmental operation update. Any board member would like to pull any of those items? Do I have a motion to approve?
Yeah, I move that we accept the consent calendar.
Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I think we pass. I don't think we have any tabled items. Any additional comments from the board? I see none. How about introduction of new agenda items? Do any of the board members have any items? Yes, Board Lowers.
I don't know if it's a question or what, but normally it seems like April, we do the tour of the facilities. Are we still going to do that this year?
We do have a tour planned. I believe we're looking at May for that. Yes. So the May meeting, we're looking at, we will send out an email. We'll have that conversation. Generally, that meeting the time will be adjusted. And then we'll post, we'll identify the places that we'll take you all to, and we'll move forward. But yes, so we've scheduled that for May.
Good, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Any others? With that said, this meeting is adjourned.